Scheifele's become a superstar in the National Hockey League.
Jets center it. Scheifele shoots. He scores! What a shot!
This is a great shot by Mark Scheifele.
He is such a visionary type player where he can see things before they happen.
Scheifele dances his way in. Scheifele scores!
What a goal by number 55.
Mark Scheifele just keeps the point totals climbing. Connor to work. Scheifele scores!
This is just something else.
Scheifele might be playing his most dangerous hockey that I've seen in quite some time.
Joining us now on the Tim and Friends maiden voyage is a guy who's establishing himself as one of the best players in the league. Top 5 in scoring right now, does it on both ends of the ice. Sid and I always say, Mark, that joining us after a win is easy, but doing it after a tough loss isn't always expected, but it is appreciated. So thank you very much for doing this.
No, thanks for having me, guys.
Okay, and being the douchebag that I am sometimes, I guess I've got to bring up the tough loss on Saturday. How do you handle something like a 7-1 loss? I know you're big on watching tape. Are you the guy that wants to go watch the tape, or do you flush that thing like I did Sid?
I think you kind of do a little bit of both. You watch a few things that maybe you weren't sharp on or whatever. So you watch a few things. And then you kind of leave it after you watch the tape over, you leave it there and move on to the next one. We had a great practice today in Toronto, and we moved on from that one, and now we're focused on Toronto.
Mark, there's been a lot of back and forth on this baseball style schedule that you guys now play in. Do you feel like there's an advantage to the fact that you play a team a couple of times in a row when you do look at film and you can make those quick on the fly adjustments?
Yeah, it definitely feels a little more like playoffs in that sense. So you're able to, tweak some things, there's adjustments to be made. And it's kind of that playoff style where, one team, the one team that wins, the other team kind of tweaks their game and hopefully, changes some things up to have success in the next one. And then it's kind of that, each team is trying to kind of play that card. So, we're excited to play against the Leafs. There are going to be three good games, and, I've enjoyed it for sure.
All right, so 3 in a row, we understand. We've seen it before. It's the 3-game set like we're playing baseball here, but 9 of 25 against the same team. Like it seems like, and maybe I'm just seeing this because I like watching fights every once in a while, but the kids seem to be dropping the gloves a little bit more of late. Are you starting to get sick of seeing the same 6 teams?
There's definitely times you'd love to see a different team, but I've really enjoyed playing against Canadian teams. It's been exciting. I've caught myself watching a lot more, the North Division, opposed to the rest of the league. But there's just a lot of exciting games, a lot of high-powered scoring on pretty much every team. So they've been fun to watch, and when you're seeing so many teams so often, it definitely helps to get a sense of what teams are doing, how teams have done as of late or whatever. So. I've actually really enjoyed it.
It definitely gives you a measuring stick, Mark, for where you land in the Scotia North Division quite quickly. But do you watch games in the rest of, like you mentioned, you watch a lot of this, but do you watch other teams, and do you have an idea of how you may stack up against those teams come playoff time?
Yeah, I definitely still pay attention. I still watch, but it's definitely tough when you don't even get to see them once during the year. It will be very interesting come playoff time where, teams haven't seen a team all year. So, I think that feeling out process, that first game is going to be crucial. So, everything this year has been kind of just rolling the punches and see how things go. So I'm sure it's going to be the exact same thing come playoffs.
Mark Scheifele joining us here on Tim and Friends. I hear folks say, not me, other folks, but they say you're a hockey nerd. I wouldn't use that. Maybe hockey guy through and through, that you live for the game. What do you think they're trying to describe when they say that about you?
I think it's just that I love hockey. I love going to the rink. I love watching hockey games. I love watching my own tape. I love, everything that has to do with hockey. Is up my alley. So I think that's kind of what they're getting at. But, I think, the biggest thing that I enjoy is getting on the ice, getting to work on my game, getting to do all that stuff. I find that stuff, so addicting to try to work on your game and fix things or work on things that are going well. And I think that's what makes hockey such a great game.
All right. I take the broadcasting game the same way. Like, I got books of notes in this bag beside that ask right now. I watch old Johnny Carson clips on YouTube. That's my game tape. On the weekend, I stole a line while watching Dave, and it ended up being Little Dicky in my open. I wrote it down in the book. What are the one or two things that you do that the average fan or even some guys who play in the league look at you and go like, what is this dude doing? Are there any of those?
I don't know. I think like maybe, the amount of hockey I watch, like, I can't really get enough of it. Especially when there's good hockey games on. I could just flip through, all night. I could watch from, dinner time until I go to bed of hockey games. And, with so many games on every single night and, the way the schedules work, it makes it easy. So you can turn on a game on, especially in Winnipeg, you turn on a game on 6, and then you got another game on at 8, and then you got another game on at 10. So you pretty much got hockey, all day long. So that makes it fun. But, I think, the biggest thing is the whole day is kind of revolving around, being ready for the next game or the next practice or, recovery. And I think that's a thing that, a lot of people don't see, us as athletes as doing. It's pretty much, you have to get the right amount of sleep to be ready for the next game. You have to eat the right things. You have to have the right supplements. You have to, do all your recovery things, your treatment, your, rehab on little, bumps and bruises and stuff like that. So I think that's the thing that the average person wouldn't understand how much effort we put into it, but that's just, kind of the way it is. It's fun. It's fun doing that. And it's fun being, taking care of your body. And I enjoy that. So, that's probably the one thing.
So this question is very selfishly just for me personally, because I want to understand myself as best I can. I'm not a professional athlete, but I recently got a Whoop, and now I'm studying my sleep and trying to understand how to be the best that I can be. What little change have you made in your hockey career over the past few years, Mark, that has been a game changer for you?
I got a Whoop too.
Oh, Whoop life, yes. My strain is low today, Mark, because I was, the stress is high preparing for this debut with Timmy. So yeah.
I think there's always little things that I add. Whether it's just, I think a lot of that stuff is kind of trial and error. Whether it's your workouts, whether it's your food, whether it's the amount that you skate. Supplements you take, all that stuff, I think is a lot of trial and error where, you find things that you like, you find the right amount of sleep that you like, night before a game, what you like eating before a game, that whole stuff. And then, I think there's a little bit of, changing things up every once in a while. Your body sometimes I think gets a little stale doing the same thing over and over. So you have to, go to the rink every single day with a purpose. And I think that's something that I've learned, over the last few years, especially this last year is, every day there's got to be a purpose. Every day there has to be, a plan set to work on and work on your game and work on your body. And I think, that intention every single day has been big for me.
Mark Scheifele on Tim and Friends here on Sportsnet. Are you surprised how much attention your comments about analytics got?
Honestly, I didn't really pay much attention to it. It was a game day, so I was getting ready for a nap anyway. But I know analytics are so prevalent nowadays. Especially amongst the media, amongst fans, whatever it is, even on teams. But I was just speaking my opinion. No, I'm not a big fan of them. I enjoy watching the games. I could watch games over and over. I can nitpick little things like that. And I don't need, the little analytics, the numbers to tell me different. I can form my own opinion. And, it was just me kind of speaking my mind about it. And, I'm entitled to my opinion. Everyone else is entitled to theirs. So,
well, it is 2021. People don't like that, eh? They don't like people having their own opinion.
How dare you?
I think I mentioned this to you before, but you and my old man have something in common. You both played for the Kitchener-Waterloo Dutchmen, about 60 years apart, but you both played there. He's a numbers guy. And we were talking about analytics, and he said there's way too many variances. Like there's too many factors that play in, who you play with, what their strengths are, who's on the ice, why they're on the ice, who you're playing against, why they're on the ice. Do you feel like all this stuff can clog your brain as you're making split-second decisions on maybe the fastest game on planet Earth outside Highlight? Or do you just think that people are over-explaining something and can't understand it unless they're on the ice?
Well, that's what I think it is. I think, even the little minute spin of the puck changes things.
Right.
The amount of spin every time a rim puck gets rimmed around, how much spins on that puck and how much you have to, control it. And, a guy can be closing on you at so many different amounts of speed that I think that's why analytics, don't come into play. Is just because there's so many, exactly that, there's so many different variables that can happen on every single play, and the only reset is a face-off, and it goes back to so many variables again. So I think that's why I'd rather watch a game and I can tell, certain reads that guys are making, if they're good or bad. Certain plays that guys are making, under duress, or is it totally, on the outside opposed to being on the inside of guys. So those things all make a difference. So I think that's kind of my reasoning behind why I don't like analytics, is because I understand how tough it is and how fast it is and how quick of a decision you have to make. And as soon as there's if you're unsure about a play, that's what makes it that's what makes it hard to quantify a good read or a bad read.
Numbers aside, the Winnipeg Jets are really starting to mesh right now. You guys look really solid. What has been the main catalyst, do you think, for that right now?
We got a lot of good players. I think, through and through the lineup, we have a lot of guys that can play with each other. Guys can be, interchangeable. Obviously we have an unbelievable goaltender in Connor Hellebuck, and we've added some new faces. Adding Derek Forbert, who's been amazing for us. Nate Thompson, Trevor Lewis. Obviously, getting Pierre-Luc Dubois. We have a lot of new faces that have really meshed really well with our team and the way that our team is designed and how guys think. And I think that's been the biggest thing. We have a lot of character guys. When you get a guy like Nate Thompson, you get a guy like Trevor Lewis who have been through, have experienced so much, and you have those guys added to your room. It brings so much more character and experience to it. And I think, that helps, especially when you have young guys as well.
Listen, Mark, again, easy to join us after the win, tougher after the losses. We really appreciate you doing this, especially on day one of the show. Best of luck the rest of the way in this little 3-game set against Toronto.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.